the Civil Rights Movement, about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, ma'am.
How many marches did he do?
My goodness, how many marches did Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. do? I don't know the number of the marches nor the times he went to jail, but he was responsible in many cities across this country of leading many marches. That's a good point. That's something that might be a good assignment. Find out, how many marches did Martin Luther King Jr. lead? Good question. Yes, please.
How well did you know him?
I knew my Uncle Martin pretty well. As I say, I got married the year after he was killed, so I was a young adult, a young lady. And we spent a lot of time at each other's homes. I also was trained as a civil rights warrior, so I had that civil rights training from him as well. He liked to play a few notes on the piano. He loved sweet potato pie. He loved fried chicken. He and my daddy could shoot pool very well. That's a game that you play on the table, billiard table or pool. Daddy was a championship swimmer. My uncle, when he was your age, used to like to do softball a lot. They all played, but he enjoyed that. Okay? Yes, sir.
Do you know what he was giving up when he was doing all this, like, first gambling stuff, because they all got killed?
You know, when you asked the question, did he know what he was giving up, you heard Bernice say that. And Bernice said, we know we have given our parents to the world, and I've come to know and live with that. You know, and you just let the tears come as they may. So anytime any of us have a call or a challenge or a charge, for instance, me, I give up a lot. I have done as many as 17 trips in 1 month in my recent history. That means every other day I was on or off a plane or a car or a bus or something. And I tried to cut it back to 10, then finally 5. And when I was younger, I could do it. But I give up being with my children. I give up having my house and my garden as pretty as I'd like. So there are things you do give up, and my physical body has changed. A lot of stuff happened in my physical body because of it. So when a man like Martin Luther King Jr. agrees to do that, there's a scripture that says, nobody goes to war, no man goes to war, unless he counts the cost. And Martin Luther King Jr. definitely was a warrior, definitely. And he did count the cost, and he still said, okay. Isn't that amazing? But our soldiers do that here in America, and they defend us, and they give up a lot. So I want you to know, Martin Luther King was a preacher and a soldier, a warrior. Okay? Go ahead.
What was your favorite thing to do?
What was what?
What was your favorite thing to do?
I shoot in pool, believe it or not, because he and my daddy taught me how to shoot pool, and it was fun. So, thanks.
What was your favorite aspect?
My favorite aspect of my uncle was his message of love, the beloved community, loving your brothers and sisters as you love yourself and as you love the Lord. His message of love is enduring. And whenever I think about him, you always hear me make reference to the beloved community. And knowing, let me get that one back there and come back to you. I saw a hand up against the wall, didn't I?
What was your favorite memory about him?
My favorite memory was when he told me I was going to be a pretty girl, a pretty woman when I grew up, and they were going to have to chase all the boys away. And at the time, I didn't like boys, and I was like, great, yay, chase them away. And so they took good care of me. Let me come back on this side and come back. Okay, go ahead.
How many marches did you go on?
I went on 3. I went on the Children's March, and that was in '63. My daddy helped organize it with others, and that's after the church had been bombed, and the 4 little girls had been killed. And then I went on several marches in Louisville, Kentucky for open housing. And so 3 that I actually vividly remember, but I think maybe about 5. Okay? I'm coming back. Okay, go ahead. I'll take these 2 and then I'll go back this way. Go ahead. Go ahead. I saw Rosa Parks. I met Rosa Parks, and I admired her so much. Very brave lady. Yes? Okay. Yes?
Where did you go to school?
I went to several schools because my dad's first church was in Newnan, Georgia. He was a co-pastor at Ebenezer. That's his daddy's church. And he and my Uncle Martin during their lifetimes did preach there. But Daddy had a church in Newnan, Georgia. Then he had a church in Birmingham, Alabama. And then he had a church in Louisville, Kentucky. So I lived in all of those cities, and I went to school in all of those cities. I graduated high school in Louisville, Kentucky from a school called Louisville Male and Girls School. Yes, right there.
How old was Martin when he started marching on Saturday?
God, 29 maybe. Don't hold me to that, but he was in his 20s. Okay, yes. My favorite food, I like organic foods a lot. So really organic salads and berries. And I like most food. There's a few foods I can't stand, but I like food anyway. But organic foods I really enjoy. There was somebody else right in there, but I can't remember. So go ahead.
Do you have a favorite quote that he said?
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and I put it on that PowerPoint. One of my uncle's favorite, but that just sticks with me because if you do something wrong to anybody, you're actually hurting everybody. See, it's a little soft. Of his famous speeches, yes, I did. I did not go to I Have a Dream, but he was a preacher at Ebenezer Baptist Church. So not so much the famous speeches, but his sermons, because he was a preacher. Death of Evil by the Seashore is one of my favorites. Yes, yes.
Did they find the man who killed him?
James Earl Ray, and he was in jail. He was incarcerated. Yeah.
And did you ever go to jail?
I went to jail in Louisville, Kentucky during the open housing movement. And it was the only time I'd ever gone to jail. Never want to go again. It was not great. It was terrible. But several of us were arrested when we went to the city council, and we lay down on the floor of city council and said, we're not going home until you let people buy houses. And it doesn't, and then don't discriminate based on skin color. I think we can take maybe two more. Let me get that one and this one.
What's your favorite book to read?
My favorite book to read? Actually the Bible, but there's a series of books called, by an author called Grace Livingston Hill. And she wrote about young women who got into situations, but they used faith, hope, and love and God to get out of their problems. And they all learned to obey their mothers or their parents. So the Grace Livingston Hill series was one of